Hello, welcome to the Tom Style Show. Thank you very much for joining in. Today we're going to talk about Bob taking over from another Bob and the return of the Bob. So Bob Iger is back as the CEO of Disney. He was there for 15 years before Bob Chapek took over. So this is an interesting story, and I'm sure the Disney shareholders are pretty thrilled and they're very excited. The thing is, actually, we saw that on Jim Cramer, and he was like, "Hey, Bob Chapek gotta go. He gotta be fired," and everybody was like, "Oh, whoa, are you sure? What's going on?" And then, boom, the news comes up on Sunday, in Sunday evening, and so everybody's talking about it. Now, this is this is not really, Bob Chapek wasn't a terrible CEO in terms of financially looking at the company. I think he had some strategic ideas, but he was very he was not favorably perceived by anybody. And that brings up a very good question that, okay, a company like Disney that people love so much, the Disney parks, the movies, the animations, the whole Pixar, everything, people love Disney. But as you look at it, it's a very large organization that have recently done some of the massive M&A, massive acquisitions, and in order for it to keep on growing, it needs to do a lot of those acquisitions moving forward. So how do you keep the magic on? I think that's where the problem is. Bob Iger, now that he's back, he has this amazing ability of storytelling and making people happy, keeping the creators like, hey, I'm one of you, I'm there for you, we're all together, that kind of vibe. At the same time, he is loved by the investors. The investment community is like, oh, wow, we love him. He's doing these hardcore acquisitions that are significant. He did one from Steve Jobs, he bought the Pixars. He did one from the Lucasfilm. He did one from Rupert Murdoch, the 21st Century Fox entertainment side of the business for $70 billion. That's insane acquisitions he has done for Disney. And he didn't make it sound like, okay, it's an M&A company now. He was like, hey, we're just blending in. It's part of us. We're going to build the magic together. So he has this both sides of the CEO brain where he can do the storytelling, he can connect with the creators, and at the same time, he can be loved and perceived very well by Wall Street. Now, when he found his successor, Bob Chapek, he did not have the storytelling vibe at all. He was not a good storyteller. That's just not the case. He was kind of perceived from Wall Street side. I think they gave him some time that, hey, he just came in during the pandemic. I think he came a couple of weeks before the pandemic, so it's not his fault that the whole parks business completely shut down. That's a huge loss for Disney. And his job was to execute the Disney Plus subscription. So he actually has done a pretty good job on that. I think the current subscription numbers is 221 million subscribers for Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Hulu combined, which is more than Netflix, I think 220 million. So, he has done a good job in the execution side, but the magic disappeared. I have to say, the magic disappeared. He was not creator friendly. He did not do any major acquisitions. He was not very creator friendly, and he created this whole middle management structure, taking help from his buddy, that Kareem Daniel from Goldman Sachs, who fully controlled the creators, what the creators are going to do. And these studio heads, these creators need a lot of freedom. If you put a Goldman Sachs exec on top of them and that guy controls how the money flows, what kind of happens, these studio heads are not gonna do the job. They're not gonna listen to you. They need a lot of creativity. They need a lot of friendliness. Now, so when I was looking at it, I didn't really know. I was thinking it must have something to do with the Florida thing, his fight with the DeSantis and all that, maybe something political, and now DeSantis is winning so heavily in Florida, so and there's a chance he might be running for president. There's a chance he might win. So I think Disney's like, whoa, we don't want to be fighting in politics now. We're in the business of storytelling for kids. Why in the world are we fighting with politicians? What's going on? So that could be a reason, part of the reason that I think Chapek got fired. And even though Bob Iger is also very left-leaning, but he is very smart when it comes to communication. I think he got that communication component of things, so he can make you feel very good. No matter who you are, he's gonna make you feel good, and that's a very interesting and very exceptional quality for a CEO. Now that got me thinking. I was like, okay, so for Disney to keep on thriving, they're gonna need to make on acquisitions. They're gonna need to streamline some of the things. They're gonna need to do some of these things that Bob Chapek was, kind of doing, and that got him fired. At the same time, they need to keep the magic. They need to keep that storytelling vibe. How do you do that? So it's kind of like two different personality you have to have as a CEO when you're looking for a successor. So Iger is coming back for 2 years. That's his contract. But I don't think that's gonna work out. So what's gonna happen is probably he's gonna, keep tell some stories and bring back the Disney magic, etc., etc. And then towards the end of his 2-year tenure, he's probably gonna do an acquisition, a major acquisition, just like the one he did 21st Century Fox from Rupert Murdoch. And with that acquisition, his contract needs to be extended, and I think if he doesn't go into politics, then they'll probably extend it for a couple more years to have the acquisition play out. So I think that's probably going to happen, and the next CEO, this is my recommendation. This is entirely the Tom style take on it. The next CEO there should be two CEOs, co-CEOs, just like Netflix. Netflix has Reed Hastings and Ted Sarandos, two of them together, co-CEOs. I think Disney can probably think of a co-CEO structure where one CEO would be focused on the storytelling side, the creator side, the magic of Disney. The other CEO would be focused on mergers and acquisitions, solely focused on growth through acquisitions, or organic growth should be coming from the first CEO. The acquisition side of the growth should be coming from the second CEO, and both of them should be working together to build and to keep the culture on. Because I was talking to a friend of mine in Hollywood, and he had a whole list of complaints about Bob Chapek, and those were not even reported. And I was like, where do you get that information? And these news are all over Hollywood because the studio heads are super mad at Chapek. It makes no sense, even just on the subscription side, Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and then and Hulu combined 220 million in subscribers. That's an insane number for their DTC business, which is definitely losing a lot of money. I think last time it lost like $4 billion, and then they have the parks business, they have the movie studios, they have Disney has so many different components to it. I think Chapek wanted to streamline into lifestyle brand and this whole digital and physical kind of thing. I think that's not how creativity works. You can look at it from top and it looks very, very easily organized that way. Okay, we have the digital segment and we have the physical segment of Disney, and we're going to build a lifestyle brand. It's easy to think of it from a Wall Street vibe, kind of like that, but it's not possible. The movie creators, the creative studios, they don't think that way. Their work need to be special, and I think they didn't feel special. They were kind of trapped in this large organization that's growing through acquisitions. So I think to bring the magic back, we need two different CEOs, one taking care of the acquisition, other taking care of the creative side. So yeah, Bob Iger cannot have just one successor. He needs two, maybe three. So, and another thing I wanted to mention, Disney should look into this. They need to do some acquisitions in the YouTube space, because I have seen uh, quite a few channels like these Ryan's World and Coco Melon and a bunch of these by Jay Gian, and so these guys are growing insanely fast, and they're creating a culture around it. Kids, they're bringing the characters, they're bringing the whole thing more realistic way. So this is an area I think Disney need to look at. They're looking at the linear television business, the whole streaming side of things, and the movies and the big screen and politics and all kinds of things, where they need to kind of look into the community that's been created by these YouTubers that are concentrating their focus on kids and getting tremendous amount of subscriptions and views. All of them are in the 100 million subscriber club. So it's a very, very interesting place that Disney kind of need to look at and see whether either they need to do some sort of acquisition, or they need to come up with a strategy for YouTube side of the things. Because if they're too focused on Disney Plus and trying to fight with Netflix, then they might lose out a community that could have been created with free YouTubing. So yeah, that's my take on the Disney situation, but I do think the stock is way undervalued, and it should definitely go at least twice. That's my take on it. With Iger, if he can execute some of these visions pretty stable, with stable hand, I think Disney should be. I think right now it's selling like it was selling like 160 billion or something when Chapek was there, and then he got fired. Now it's probably 180 billion or so, but it should be going somewhere in the 350 to 400 billion if Iger can complete the vision that he has. Because that's the difficulty with Disney. But yeah, that's my take on it. Thank you very much for joining us. Please do subscribe. If you like the video, please comment on it and let me know what kind of videos you want to see. I will do those videos for you. So thank you.